What's up, guys? Before we get this week's podcast started, I want to tell you all about hardworkalwayswins.com. It is my clothing line, but more importantly, it is my mantra. I speak it, I wear it, I live it. Head over to hardworkalwayswins.com, pick up your t-shirts, hoodies, tank tops, hats, and we're adding more as we go along. You get the original Hard Work Always Wins design, the 4 pillars: patience, consistency, hard work, love yourself. We've got overstocked on patience. We got fight like hell. We got all kinds of great stuff and adding more. I get so many messages from people that tell me how much this stuff inspires them. And let me tell you what, it inspires me too. And I'm truly appreciative that people get so much from the message. It really means the world to me. So help me out. Help this podcast out. Help out the content on Instagram, because I take all this money and I put it back into giving content to you, the listener. So thank you so much for your support. Now let's go to Wine Library in New Jersey this past Saturday, talking to my good friend, Nikki Hynes, who I met on Instagram. She's awesome. You're awesome for listening. And let's get this show started. We're freezing our ass off in the middle of New Jersey. I'm here with my friend Nikki. How are you?
I'm good. Cold, but good.
Yes. We are waiting outside of Wine Library for a Gary Vaynerchuk book signing. and we were, for the people listening at home, we were actually planning to do this podcast at some point today. This was like the thing. We were both going to get to meet Gary V and then meet each other and do a podcast, because one of my 5 things in 2018 to do was to do a podcast on the road. And so I'm smashing 2 birds with one stone, because the other thing to do was meet Gary V. So knocking out 2 things today, Nikki. So we're here, we're outside. It's probably 40 some odd degrees out front of Wine Library. And there's your weather report for the day, by the way. For the people listening a week later that are like, what's going on? So we met on Instagram. How long ago was this?
Couple of months.
Couple of months?
Definitely a couple of months. I want to say fall-ish.
Fallish? Okay, that works. And one of us followed the other. I think I may have followed you during my mass following. Or you may have followed me. I have no idea, but we linked up, and I'm glad we did.
Absolutely.
We have been in regular contact. For those of you guys that do not know Nikki, you can follow her at Bronc787.
That's correct.
How do you spell that for the people?
BRONC787.
Perfect. And Nikki's been one of those ones that I've talked to forever, and we've become really good friends on Instagram, and we're both on weight loss journeys, and that is how we linked up. So usually how I start these things is I ask you kind of how you got started with your journey, and we get there by figuring out, I guess, when was a point where you realized that you wanted to make a change, and what was that breakthrough like for you? Because I think it's usually there's like a moment. Like there's a photo you see, or there is, I don't know. It's either a photo or something happens that triggers that thought of, oh, I need to make a change.
Yep, absolutely.
So for you, what was that moment?
It was back in 2009, maybe 2010. I think it was 2009.
Okay.
We had a trip to Disney World planned, and a friend of mine at the time, her family was also heading down, and it was August, and we were both dreading having to wear bathing suits
Right.
At the hotel pool. So we kind of made a little bet with each other as to who could lose, I think it was like 10 pounds first, and like get themselves ready for a vacation.
Right.
And I was like, all right, I'm going to do this. So I started just being a little bit more mindful as to what I was eating and trying to be a little bit more active.
Sure.
And I hit that goal.
Nice.
Yeah. So I still wasn't totally comfortable wearing a bathing suit at the pool, but
Yeah.
It was progress, and it came kind of easy. So I was like, all right, I can keep this going.
Sure. Yeah. No, that's great. It's always something. I mean, like I've told people, like for me, there was a photo that I seen of me at my cousin's wedding where my face is inflated like a damn blimp. Right. And I mean, I can say that now, but at that time that's what I saw. So I think it's always that moment. There's some kind of moment that triggers it and you just get rolling. And for you, like when you got started, like what were some of the things that you were doing? Like how did you kind of get in the groove? Did you stumble and fall a few times, or did you just hit the ground running and just go strong?
I've stumbled and fallen face first the entire 8 years that I've been doing this. So you're going to fail. You're going to fall flat on your face. You just have to get back up.
Yeah.
And you just have to keep going. For me, I knew the exercise aspect wasn't going to happen right away.
Right.
So I started just looking at what I was eating.
Sure. Yeah.
And making small changes that way. For me, it was after being home with 2 kids all day and just tending to them, I would find comfort in like a pint of ice cream and a bag of cookies on the couch.
Yes.
As I binge watched TV.
Who can't relate to that, by the way?
It was like a hug for my soul.
Yes.
But I realized that, quote unquote, hug for my soul was making me more miserable in the long run because I was just packing on more and more weight. And it was like this vicious cycle. So that's where I decided to break the cycle.
And when you kind of had some stumbling and falling, what would you identify as some of the points of failure? Like, what was it like you would stall on wanting to work out or breaking the diet? Like for you, what was something that would trigger a failure point?
It would be emotional eating.
Yeah.
So that's always been the biggest thing for me. It still is something that I struggle with. But I would hold myself to this level of like I felt you had to be perfect and eat perfect like every single meal all of the time. Otherwise, you weren't being successful.
That reminds me, I'm sorry to cut you off. That reminds me, I don't want to forget, because you actually did a story, I don't know if it was yesterday, maybe the day before, where you were talking about balance.
Yes.
And obviously I'm referencing this and nobody can watch it now because it's a 24-hour thing. Maybe that's one to feature. Just an idea. I mean, it's your page. Do whatever you want. But I'm like,
that's a good idea.
That was a good message.
Okay, great.
I like the message. You're talking about the balance about, you can't, I mean, I'm paraphrasing here, but you can't like do, perfect all the time. Essentially what you were saying, you got to find your balance, because you were talking about where you used to work at Cold Stone and, would you absolutely pop a Snickers once in a while,
Yeah.
And I agree 1,000%. I'm amazed at how many folks online, and I don't want to, I'm not throwing shots. I'm not saying anything about anybody in particular, but it's just like something in general I see where so many, they feel, so guilty. Like they had one cookie.
Yeah.
They had one slice of pizza and they feel like it's over.
Yeah, or like they have to spend 4 hours in the gym and like only eat kale for the next 3 days in order to fix it. But it's not the case. It's, you had, pizza or you had some cookies or whatnot. All right.
Yeah.
You had some fucking pizza. It's not a big deal.
Just not a big deal.
Your next meal, be a little bit more mindful about what you eat. Drink some extra water. I don't know. You don't have to punish yourself. And that took a while to learn, because even once I started incorporating exercise and everything, I had to catch myself, because I can be such a perfectionist and I can take things to such extremes.
Sure.
I had to stop myself and realize, wait, I can't do double workouts for the rest of my life. Yeah. So I need to scale it back and figure out how to maintain all of this with leading a normal lifestyle. Otherwise, I'm going to completely fall flat on my face.
Yeah, you got to find the balance.
Then that's when you give up.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I've seen it many times. I mean, I've stumbled and fallen. My point of failure was listening to too many other people.
Yes.
I am a firm believer, and people may agree or they disagree. I feel like when you follow somebody else's plan, one of two things is going to happen. You're either going to succeed at it, and you're going to succeed at it so well and be perfect at it, or you're just going to flat out fail. The other prong to that is, when you fail, you want to stop because you feel like you couldn't hold up to it. Like there's some mental thing there where it's like, well, gee, I couldn't do this. Maybe I'm not meant or cut out to do this.
Right.
because you're following somebody else's specific stuff. And that's why for me, I'm always just like, you got to figure out your own plan.
Absolutely.
Custom to your body.
Because everybody's different. Everybody
Yeah.
has a different set of bullshit that they've been telling themselves for years too. And when you really start to look at it, because if I'm going to be 100% honest, you have to own your own shit during this journey.
You have
because
to.
it's all of that shit that has been piling up and getting you to the point in your life where you are. So for me, it was emotional eating. For other people, it could be the same thing. It could be anger. It could be just not believing in yourself enough. And so if you don't believe in yourself, why should you take care of yourself? Why should you do these things? But you have to figure out why you believe those things and change the way you think about yourself in order to move forward. You can exercise all you want, but if you don't change your mindset, you're just going to slide right back into those old habits.
That's a fire quote right there. Just going to say that.
Is
Mark
that going to be
one
on
down.
a T-shirt?
That might be.
In one of our shops.
Yes, definitely. We're going to talk about that too. This is not just a weight loss podcast, but when you were at your biggest, and if you want to say numbers, that's fine. If you don't, it's cool. But
I think I was hovering somewhere around 250 at my absolute heaviest.
Okay.
It was probably higher because honestly, when I was at my absolute heaviest, I didn't want to step on a scale.
Sure. And when you were at your heaviest, so many times we hear about, waking up in pain or being in different kinds of pain and stuff like that. Like what kind of things did you experience? I
have 2 herniated discs in my lower back. So,
as a result of being big, or is this related to something else?
No, it was related to something else, but as I packed on the weight, as I got older, it just got worse and worse. So to a point where it was difficult to get up. It would be difficult to walk around for a long time, chasing after 2 young kids and, trying to pick their toys up all day and stuff like that. It was just painful and tiring. But ever since I've lost the weight, I have 0 back pain.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
That's incredible. I think that's like the biggest difference I noticed. I just posted a video on my Instagram at Gary Cantrell a couple days ago for Throwback Thursday, and it was a video of me 1 week into my journey.
Yes.
And I was surprised at just 1 week the difference I felt in my body.
Absolutely.
Did you see some kind of like quick changes? Maybe not a week, but like a couple of days or a week or 2 weeks. Like, did you notice that immediate?
Yes, I started having more energy.
Yeah.
Once I stopped filling my face with Pop-Tarts and cookies and all that stuff because I'm a total sweets junkie.
Oh, yeah, me too.
And it's something I still struggle with.
Same here. We're all human. Look, we're all human.
Absolutely. I started having more energy. I wasn't as tired. Doing simple tasks, it was like, okay, I have to get this done. And I'm not going to complain about it because I actually have energy. So that was huge.
And when you started to working out, like what kind of schedule did you put yourself on a schedule? Did you have like a routine or?
An every other day schedule of either I had a stationary bike at home or I would go for a walk.
Okay. Cool.
And as I started getting more comfortable with that, then I started adding in yoga.
Okay.
And as that progressed, and I think after 2 or 3, I think it was like 3 or 4 months of doing that, I had found I lost 30 pounds.
Yeah.
And someone I knew started doing P90X.
Okay.
And I decided, despite being as overweight as I was going to try it.
Sure. I've heard a lot of things about it.
Yeah.
How was that experience for you?
It was amazing. It was absolutely awesome. And starting that program, I would have to say, is definitely what made me keep going.
Sure. And expanded a little bit on the yoga for me, too, because I know a couple of years ago I experimented with it a little bit and saw some great results. And what were some of the things you saw doing it, kind of like changes that it made for you, like positive changes that maybe other workouts didn't do for you? Or did you experience anything like that? Or
yoga helped me to quiet my mind.
Okay.
I can definitely overthink things and worry about things a lot, and especially being a mom of 2 young kids, that can drive you crazy. It just became like this zen place for me to go where it was quiet and everyone knew to leave me alone while I was doing it. and that helped. But overall, it was just nice to have something that was low impact at the time, especially being overweight. That allowed me to feel accomplished, but I wasn't like sweating my ass off. And
You're able to make progress with, like you said, low impact. I mean, that's huge
exactly.
too.
And you don't have to kill yourself in order to start making changes.
Don't you like to go into the gym now and just kill yourself though? Like now that you're in the shape you're in now?
Yeah, I do. I am a sucker for some heavy weights. So. I'm still not a cardio fan, but yeah, give me some weights and I'm a happy woman.
Show me somebody who is a cardio fan. We all do it because we need to do it, but like I'm definitely, I don't know. Maybe for me, I'm starting to love it a little bit, even though whenever I get like on the treadmill, for instance, I mean, I feel like dead when I'm done.
But accomplished.
Oh my God. I mean... My T-shirts, you would have thought you soaked them in a bath or something, or like I took a shower wearing a T-shirt or jumped in a pool. Like they just get so freaking soaking wet. It blows my mind. They get stuck to your skin. Like, but you know that you've done something. You've made some sort of progress. I mean,
right, and you start to see what your body is actually capable of.
Yeah,
because we limit ourselves with our minds.
Yeah. And that's why I tell people, to your point about like to the mindset, it's like when I say love yourself, and I can only speak for me, obviously, but I feel like to love yourself, you have to realize like what your body's been through.
Absolutely.
And understand that this body has held up and got you to where you are to get you to even a point to start. I always say, you know, so many people, they want to win the race tomorrow. I'm happy to be in the race.
Right.
And I mean that in the sense of I'm happy that my body, I love my body because it's still here. I'm still alive and it's enabling me to be able to move. And that's huge for me.
Absolutely. Slow and steady will always win the race.
Every time.
Every time in the past when I had tried to lose weight, I was always looking for that quick fix.
Yep.
And I would psych myself out because I would be like, well, why aren't things happening? Why isn't the scale moving? Why am I still wearing the same size?
Yeah.
Well, dummy, you didn't gain all of this weight overnight. So why do we expect to lose it overnight? It's dumb.
Well, if you see some account on Instagram, some Herbalife or It Works account, they'll slap a sticker on a before and after and act like because I drank this milkshake, I woke up the next day and I have abs now.
Right, and it doesn't work that way.
God, that pisses
it really
me
doesn't.
off.
And don't get me wrong, there is nothing wrong with these different companies if you want to use their products or you like it for whatever reason as an aid.
Yes,
but don't put all of your chips on that product. Because
I don't have a problem with the companies. Like I don't want these companies to think I'm like slandering them. I'm not. It's the people that are trying to sell the stuff.
Right.
That's what kills me. I did a rant on this 2 weeks ago. I'll spare you guys the rant. Go back 2 weeks ago to my episode where I talk about this in more detail, but just it's more the people behind it because they're trying to sell. They're like, buy my shit.
Right. It's like, take some time to get to know me and whether or not your product is actually going to help me. Don't just look to take my money. Because in some cases, these products are good. And in some cases, they absolutely can help someone. But just because going back to the whole using someone else's plan, just because it worked for you doesn't mean that it's going to work for me.
Exactly.
I was super overweight and decided to jump in and do, P90X and Insanity and other, Beachbody programs and everything.
Yep.
But that doesn't mean that I tell everyone I speak to, oh, this is what you have to do. This is the only way to lose weight.
Yes.
No, this is what worked for me. So if you want to look at what I've done and maybe say, oh, that sounds interesting, or I might like that, and you want to try it, that's awesome. But
yeah, that's something else I want to expand upon too. The usage of different supplements and things like that. I know for me, and sometimes I've had people that say, you seem like you're really anti-supplement, and I'm not. For me, it's always been like I'm experimenting with my body in the sense of how much work can I put into this body without taking anything in? Mm-hmm. How much can I get out of it before I have to go to a supplement route? So I'm not even anti-supplements. I'm more anti people that are throwing their promo code in every other store.
Right, absolutely.
But for you, like, Have you used some of this stuff? Have you experimented with it, and what kind of results have you seen in conjunction with your workouts?
I have. I told you straight out when we first started following each other because you had said, no sales stuff, or maybe it was your Facebook group.
Yeah.
You
no
had
sales.
something, and I was upfront with you that I was, a Beachbody coach.
Right.
And it was something I was using solely for the discount on
Sure.
the products because I did love their workouts. I was buying them all the time.
Right.
I did drink Shakeology. It was something that I felt good drinking, and it was something that I incorporated after I lost probably my 100 pounds.
Wow. Okay, yeah.
Because I had noticed a gap in my nutrition and my eating. I wasn't a big veggie eater. I wasn't getting all
either.
of the vitamins and stuff that, I needed. So I was like, all right, I'll add this in for a while. I'm not one of those people that are like, oh, you have to have this.
Yeah.
That anyone who follows me and looks at my stuff knows.
Nikki, you have to have it because I have this promo code and I'm going to save you 20% off. That's why you have to have this supplement.
Yes. Yeah, no, that's so not me. But yeah, I mean, I've used a ton of different products, during my journey because it depended on what I was doing. When I was running, I was using more electrolyte supplements and stuff like that because it's what I felt my body needed. Now that I'm lifting more, I'm using a completely different brand of
you changed it up essentially.
I do because I feel you have to change things up in life. Your
you
life is constantly changing and you have to change along with it. So what you were using, 2 years ago, 3 years ago, even, 2 or 3 months ago, if you're changing your workouts, if your lifestyle is changed, everything else has to change with it.
I agree. That's something I see too. Like even with just like while you're on your journey, it's like if you do the same stuff, and I did this, by the way, I did like 7-8 months on the treadmill straight and it was working for 7 or 8 months. And then I was like, okay, time to change it up.
Yeah, because your body gets used to things, and you have to constantly change it up. Otherwise, your body's going to stop responding because your muscles are like, oh, okay, I know what we're doing.
Yeah, and that's like even the stairs. I gave that 3 or 4 months, and then that was already starting to wear off.
Yeah, now you're getting ready for that 5K.
Oh my God, yeah. This is still a challenge for me because I've been going through this Couch to 5K program, and I got to tell you that I'm still not comfortable running longer than 5 minutes at a time.
I still am not either, and I was training for a half. So
oh wow,
yeah, that's
that's even more intense.
Yeah,
more power to you.
That was fun. I don't enjoy running.
Yeah,
I don't. I enjoy the feeling after I run.
Sure,
but I don't enjoy the actual process of running. I still got, so much weight on me. Right now I'm sitting at 272, and I think that is probably presenting a lot of the challenge. That, the way I breathe, actually having my wife go to the gym with me now, she's pointing out, hey, you need to work on this breathing thing because that's huge too. It's causing me to gas out a lot faster. Yeah, breathing during running is huge.
Yeah.
And it's something I have not been able to master myself. I'm a very shallow breather. So, like you said, I gas out really fast. I
understand completely. So I think for me, it's like the breathing, the clock on the treadmill, which I try to cover up and ignore, but I can't ignore. So you got those two things.
Analytics.
Yeah. It makes it very challenging, which really, really sucks sometimes, but I'm determined. I was telling Heather, yesterday, I'm like, look, in 6 months, let's see what it looks like then.
Yeah.
So I'm not stopping, by the way. I'm not,
I have no doubt about that.
I'm absolutely not stopping. It's just like with the stairs. I mean, when I first started on the stairs, I could only go 10 floors.
Now you're like crushing over 300.
300 floors.
I remember messaging you like, how the fuck do you do that?
I had a very specific plan with that. Start out slow and then get a good pace and then slow back down and go up. But what people probably don't realize, I also spend an hour and a half on those stairs. So that's how you get there. It's not, I walked 300 flights in a half an hour.
You mean you didn't do that in 30 minutes?
No, not at all. I did it in an hour and 30 minutes. I had to reset the stairs twice because the damn clock runs out because they only want you on there for 60 minutes. But I'm like, my gym is like a ghost town, and I'm like, I'm just going to start it over.
Now I'm jealous of that.
Yeah, is your gym really crowded?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Let's talk about that too, because like, do you have issues being around crowds of people? Is that a problem for you?
I am not a fan of crowds. I actually, I've been at this for over 7 years and only joined the gym for the first time this past September.
Oh, wow. Okay.
I did everything at home. So I did everything either running in my yard, in my house, DVDs, stuff like that. So,
there's another, just a real quick add-on to that point. Like, did that make it harder in the sense of, oh, well, I'm home, fuck it, I don't feel like working out today? Like, did you ever have any struggles with that? Like,
I would, but then on the flip side, it's I'm home and my weights are right there looking at me, or the bike is right in my room. So if I would go,
it's right in your room. So like, you get out of bed, it's right there.
My gym is I used to have part of it downstairs in the living room. Because if you go to sit on the couch, your stuff is looking at you. Yes. And then the other half of it was upstairs in my room. So if you say, fuck it, I'm going to go to bed early today, you walk up there and you're like, I didn't get my workout done. All right, I'm doing this. But the beauty of that also is I could work out in my pajamas and it doesn't matter.
You could do it virtually any time of the day.
Any time of the day. And being a mom with 2 young kids, it was perfect because if they napped or they were in school, I could run home, start some laundry, and get a workout done fast, or pause my workout, bump laundry over into the dryer, and then pick it back up. So I took my own excuses away that way.
And how was that, trying to figure out your rhythm, your schedule with kids? Because, I'm not a parent, but based on people that I know that are parents, it seems like it's very variable. Like, it can change on a whim, right?
Absolutely.
I mean, is that accurate? So
it's absolutely accurate.
How does that work for you? How do you find that balance while being a great mom at the same time and making sure that your kids are handled?
It's tough because when I started, I would have people who would call me selfish for, carving out this hour of time. Because, back then the majority of the DVDs I was doing, they were hour workouts. And I taught my kids at a young age, when you hear this, my workout music on and stuff like that, you have to fend for yourself for a little while. And they were young, but I mean, they weren't like infants or toddlers or anything, but it was still, you guys can handle life on your own for an hour. Nothing's going to happen. But I was right there in case something,
Of course,
I had to put my mom hat back on. But people would say I was selfish for putting myself first. And, that was tough in the beginning. And I would start to feel bad for myself and, double, second guess things like, am I a bad mom? Is it wrong of me to carve out this time? But, now being so far into my journey and everything, I realized, no, it actually made me a better mom because you can't pour from an empty cup. So if I'm super stressed out or worried about that I'm failing at things, then I think you become resentful and then you're like short on patience and stuff like that. So definitely.
You got to take the time for you. I'm a big proponent of this. It's not always a popular opinion, but you have to. I mean, the first year of my journey was finding that balance. I'm still finding that balance, by the way.
You always will.
Life at home, to be completely honest, has never been perfect, but I'm figuring it out. Like, talk with my wife, we're figuring things out. You know what I mean? Like, we're finding that balance. And it's not easy. It's never like an overnight. It's never easy. But you got to find that balance. And that's something that, I think that it won't come right away, but in time you'll learn and figure out what that balance is. And I'm thrilled. I'm thrilled, by the way, to figure out what that balance is when it happens, because, things are getting so much better in finding that balance, in the discovery of the balance. But once things truly click 100%, it's going to be unstoppable.
Yeah,
I think it's going to be great.
But that balance, it's always shifting, it's always changing, and you just have to kind of notice the shifts and the changes, and then.
I'm not perfect. I've made a lot of mistakes,
Nobody's perfect. I think that's the thing I've been driving home most this week in my post. There is no such thing as perfection. We're all, if anything, perfectly imperfect.
Yes, I think that's accurate.
That's it. And, social media, unfortunately, as much as I love it and it's brought like awesome, cool, down-to-earth people like you into my life, it also puts this awful stigma of you have to be like this, or your workout should look like that, or all of these things that you compare yourself to. But it's really just a highlight reel. And if you were actually able to follow that person around all day, you would see. They're
It's
just
a
like
different
you.
thing. Yeah.
They're just like you. They walk into, the grocery store and they're online and they're like, oh, I really want those Reese's cups.
Of course. Let's expand on that a little bit. How long have you been, in some way, shape, or form, maybe not just Instagram, but how long have you been actually documenting, like showing people, here's what I'm doing?
I think I really got into that when I had started P90X and found Twitter. I was experimenting with hashtags, found the, hashtag P90X, and met the most amazing group of people
Right.
through there that I'm still friends with,
Yeah.
which is kind of awesome. All these years later. So it's cool to see that they're all still following their fitness thing. We've all gone different ways.
Sure.
Who's into CrossFit, who's a runner, who's a yogi, and
Yeah, everybody's kind of got their different path.
yeah, but we all started in, a similar
Have
place.
common goals, essentially.
Absolutely, and that's just to be the healthiest, best version of ourselves that we can be.
I love it. Yeah, that's the best way to put it. Finding out. I think there's a lot of growth, and we'll go back to social media in a minute. I actually was going to bring up this point, and then I forgot, and then, because I'm not perfect. But I really want to hear from you, like growing as you go through this journey, because that's one thing. Like people think, oh, it's a numbers game. I'm jumping on the scale. I'm either going up or down. If I'm going up a pound, I hate life.
The scale. Can I just throw that out there really fast?
Me too. I have 2 or 3 rants on that
is
somewhere.
Such bullshit.
Yeah.
Anyone who puts all of their stock in the scale, stop it immediately.
Yes, please stop.
Like right now.
But personal growth. I mean, finding yourself mentally, and loving your body. It all kind of goes hand in hand. Mm-hmm. What kind of discovery did you have, and how long did it take you to really kind of get a grasp on? Here's where I'm at. I'm on board with myself. Here's how we're going. How does all that come about?
All right, it's actually funny because it's that whole, sales stuff and everything that you brought up with your rants and whatnot. These people who sell things.
Yes.
It actually is part of what changed my mindset because, in the very beginning when I became a coach and everything, I was like, oh, I don't know what it's all about. I'll look into it. And they kind of give you this little list of things that you should do.
Right. Bullet points.
And some of it, I was like, I'm not fucking doing that. This is stupid. But one of them on there was to read a minimum of 10 pages of personal development per day.
So you did find some value in it.
I did. And I started doing it. Now, I had never read a personal development book in my life. So I kind of looked at the little list that they gave us. And I picked up a book and started reading it. And I was like, holy shit. I'm like, this is like game-changing stuff right here. And ever since then, I have been a personal development junkie. Hence why I am sitting on the cold floor outside of the wine library in New Jersey waiting to meet Gary Vee.
Yes. And I guess the personal development thing, having to read that, I mean, if you're going to coach people, I guess you need to like work on your own shit before you...
Absolutely. Absolutely. You have to, I think one of the books I first read, it was called Personality Plus.
Okay.
And it teaches you to recognize different personality traits in other people and how to work with them and talk with them and form relationships with them. And, even as I've gone on to get my certification as a personal trainer and everything and online coaching and getting to know why people are in the situations that they're in, what's changed to help them, decide that they want to make this change in their life. All this stuff comes in handy because it's great to know your own stuff. Yeah. But you do have to kind of understand how other people tick as well.
I agree. Now, is that kind of like your ideal kind of end game with all this? You want to become like a coach and reach out to others?
You know what? I'm going to be 42 years old in May, and I still don't know what I want to be when I grow up.
Really? Okay.
Yeah. I've done the whole graphic design route, which is what I always was.
You're really good at that. We know that. We're going to get into that as well.
And, I like you said, finding balance and everything. Yes. I just kind of burned out there. And decided to stay home with my kids and focus on them more. And then I missed that whole artistic aspect and fell into cake decorating. Yeah. Because they're similar, totally different medium. Sure. But it's still an artistic thing.
And be creative.
then I was everyone was like, oh, you've lost all this weight and you should help other people. You should get certified. You should become a trainer. And that point, I wasn't 100% sure if that was the route I should go. But that was one of those things. I had so many people telling me I should do it. I was just kind of like, okay, I'm going to do this. I'm going to do this.
Yeah.
But I lack confidence in that area.
I think there's also like what I've heard it described as imposter syndrome. Like, who the fuck am I to help other people, right?
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And then going back to social media, I'm all like, well, I only have 2,000 followers. Who's going to listen to me? What do I know? Like, I don't have a K after the number of followers I have, so what the fuck do I know?
Yes.
Meanwhile, I've lost over 100 pounds, so obviously I know something. But it's how do you get that, what worked for you to translate into helping someone else. So I have enjoyed the different courses I've taken in, learning that stuff. But
how long have you been studying up on this?
I became a certified trainer almost 4 years ago.
Okay, wow. Okay.
I've helped a small amount of people with online coaching and private one-on-one stuff and everything, but never to a point where I'm like, I'm a trainer, buy my program, I could help you. I'm just like, if you come to me and want help, I will happily help you.
Yes.
I have no problem doing that. I totally believe in paying it forward.
That's the thing. I feel like, in that position of like an online coach or whatever, that's probably like a 6-figure income all day long. Like, that's what I tell people. Like, I could easily just be some kind of like life coach consultant, make $100K a year easily. But I just, for me, I'm always like, I just put it all out there. Maybe in the end I'll just be dumb and poor. But
I think you're helping a lot of people.
Hardworkalwayswins.com. Buy my shirts. No, I'm kidding.
I think you're helping a lot of people because you're keeping it real. And I think people truly relate to that.
Well, you can thank Gary Vee for that. We're sitting here waiting to meet him, and let's bring it right back around. I mean, I wouldn't be documenting this thing if it wasn't for him.
That's very true. Thank you, Gary Vee.
Yeah. Thank you, Gary Vee. I would not be telling people everything. People DM me all the time, like, how do you get started? How do you do this? How do you do that? And of course, I could create a website. I could say, here, add this to your cart and buy my ebook. And
join my free 7-day group as to find out how I did this and then try and sell them on the long-term plan.
But Gary Vee says, how much value can you give to others? Like, just give and give and give value. Give, ask.
Right.
That's
jab, hook.
There you go. So
it's the first Gary Vee book I ever read.
Is it?
Yeah.
And it's so true too. So, I am actually writing a book, but it won't be like an ebook. This is actually like a life journey thing. Like
your biography?
Yes. It's centered around the weight loss, but there'll be other stuff in there too.
Do I get an autographed copy of this?
Well, you got to buy it for now.
Do I have to wait online for 6 hours, like meeting Gary Vee?
No, of course you got the hookup. I think for me, like, you talk about your goal. You're a coach. You want to go more into that field. I want to put out a book, and then I want to travel the country. I want to do motivational speaking.
Yes.
I want to meet people face to face like we're doing right now. That's why I made it in 2018. One of my goals was to take this very podcast on the road, by the way, because I was just like, I want to meet these people face to face. Like, these are people that you may interact with on a daily basis.
Right.
But now, meeting face to face.
And it's so much different than just video.
Yeah.
Because you could FaceTime with anyone, you can Skype with anyone, but sitting with someone and talking to them is a totally different ballgame.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So, that's really kind of my play of where I'm trying to go with this. But at the heart of it, people DM me. I'm still going to give them everything that I know. Here's what I did. Take it and figure it out for you. Like, figure out your plan.
Put your own spin on it.
Yeah.
Make it fit your lifestyle.
I'm not throwing you into a click funnel that takes you to this website where it's like a $500 ebook that tells you the deepest secrets of, how to lose weight. Because hard work is not a secret. Patience is not a secret. Consistency is not a secret. Love yourself is not a secret. It's just something you haven't discovered yet.
Yep, that's just the secret sauce that people don't want to realize that it's that simple.
Yes.
As humans, we complicate the fuck out of everything.
Yes.
And it's not that complicated.
No.
Just watch what you eat, go to the gym or be active or whatever it is that you're going to do every day.
Yep.
And be aware of your behavior. That's it. Be aware of what triggers you to run to the vending machine.
I agree.
For shareable Snickers that you eat all by yourself and then wonder, step on the scale 2 days later and go, I don't understand why it's not moving.
Yeah.
It's because of your behavior. You just have to own your own shit. If you own your own shit, if you're patient, if you're consistent, and you put the hard work in,
yes,
it'll fall into place. The love yourself part definitely takes time.
Yeah.
I think that's hand in hand with the patience.
If you don't have it, I say this all the time. If you don't love yourself, it's game over.
Yeah.
You got to have it, because if you don't love the body you're in, you're going to continue to resent yourself, and you're never going to get anywhere.
You're 100% right. And, for the longest time after I lost my weight and everything, I hated my body.
Really?
I did, because, I wasn't used to it.
Yep.
I never had that. I started gaining weight in middle school.
Yep.
So around 13, 14 years old. So now fast forward to my 30s and I'm losing weight and I'm this size I had never been before in my life.
Yeah.
I started getting into running and I would run and hate all of this excess skin that I had.
Sure.
That would jiggle and bounce and
Do you
stuff.
still deal with a lot of that, if you don't mind me asking?
I don't. I actually made the decision after I kept my weight off for over a year.
Okay.
I started saving my pennies, and I actually had an abdominoplasty.
Okay.
I had to have my abs repaired as well because of being overweight for so long and having 2 kids.
Right.
I had a huge separation in them.
Sure.
So no matter how much I would work my abs or anything, my core was super weak. So it was twofold. It was to improve the strength and the physical condition that I can.
It wasn't just a
be
cosmetic
in,
thing.
but there was a cosmetic.
There was it was
to
present, but it wasn't the sole reason. Yeah.
Absolutely. I wanted, and part of it, it was very selfish. I wanted the reminder of where I came from. I didn't want it there every day. I'll never forget where I came from. I have scars for that now, but it's I didn't need it to hold me back and stop me from moving forward and progressing.
Well, I guess also it's you've had that surgery. It's kind of well, now I really can't go backwards because I'm going to fuck up all this work that was done.
That was a lot of money.
Yeah.
That was a lot of money spent. And, I struggled. I've spoken about it openly on my Instagram and everything. Over the last year and a half, I had gained back about a good 30 pounds.
Okay.
I was just kind of in a, dark place. I lost my drive with things. I let life get in the way. And, it took changing my mindset again and completely changing things up. I joined the gym. I decided to give keto a try, which I did not understand. When I
don't understand.
First jumped into it, I was I don't understand how people just eat chicken wings and bacon. How is that healthy?
Can you give me the dummies guide, a couple of sentences about what that's all about? Because people tell me about it and I still don't understand. But we're having such a good convo. I feel like maybe you can smarten me up to it.
All right, so keto essentially is very high fat, low carb, moderate protein.
Okay.
Style of eating. So when I say high fat, we're looking for healthy high fats. Yes, there is bacon. Yes, there is heavy cream. Yes, there is butter.
Yes.
But you still want the the avocado, and you still have to eat vegetables. You don't just get to eat bacon and chicken wings. As awesome as that sounds, it's not how it works. But it basically changes the way your body processes what you're eating for fuel. So normally our body uses glycogen from carbohydrates as our main source of energy.
Right.
When you go into ketosis, your body starts producing ketones. You use those for fuel, and your body starts using all of the excess fat that you already have for energy.
Okay. It sounds.
It's very scientific.
That's a great word. I was going to say complicated, but it probably really isn't to somebody that does it. But Scientific, that sounds...
It's scientific, it is. I fell down because I was like, I don't get it. This is dumb. Because that's what we always call things that we don't understand.
Exactly,
It's
right?
dumb. This is stupid. But I met someone and they told me a YouTuber to check out to learn more about the science behind keto. So I fell down the YouTube rabbit hole. And I was like, oh my God, this totally makes sense. I was like, okay, I will give it 6 weeks.
Yes.
I will try it out for 6 weeks, and if I don't see a change in how I feel and everything, then all right, at least I tried it.
Kick the
because
tires.
I am a firm believer that you can't knock something till you try it.
Sure.
And I was pleasantly surprised.
Yeah. No, that's awesome. I'm constantly exploring new ideas. I haven't been super open with this until now, but fuck it. Like, we'll just talk about it. But it's like, I always talk about how I don't follow a specific diet. It's more portion control for me. And that is because in many ways, I am a very picky eater. And there are a lot of things that I don't like to eat. I'm not very explorative with my food. And so one of these kind of walls I put up is, well, I eat the stuff I know. I just eat less of it. And I know that time is going to run out on that at some point. You can't do that forever. But for now, I mean, I have lost 100 pounds. I've joined that club. And I'm still seeing results. So I'm like, until it's broke, I'm not going to fix it, And I'm still getting all the nutrients and all that stuff. But like, there's just certain things that I don't eat. And
so what don't you eat? Are you like anti-green veggies or?
Well, there's a lot of vegetables I don't necessarily eat. I mean, I eat green beans and corn, and I love that. Even though I hear
corn
that
is not a vegetable.
That's what I keep hearing. But I'll eat the hell out of some green beans. Let me tell you. I just like, different things like any kind of like Asian food or Indian food. Like a lot of it's smells and textures.
Okay. Things
like that. Although some of the stuff can be good for you or taste really good. To me, I can't get past the textures and the smells. Like just give me, all the stuff that I'm used to. Like every day for lunch, I have a peanut butter and jelly, but it's natural peanut butter, the natural jelly, the bread that's like the lower carb stuff. Like I am conscious to a certain degree,
and that's fine.
And I have the portions. But again, it's like it works. So until it stops working, then I just keep going hard on it. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. And I think that's how it should be. You just, like I said, earlier, you just have to be mindful of things. And when you notice it's not working anymore,
then
you have to be like,
up.
okay, it's time to change something up. And it doesn't have to be a huge change.
No.
At all.
Because then you're more likely to fail. If you make a huge change and you feel pressure,
yes,
you're going to crack at some point.
Absolutely. And that's when you give up.
No,
because the failure becomes such a grand level.
Yes.
And that was honestly, I was starting to get really scared of that back in September because I kept stepping on the scale and I was still working out and stuff, but it just kept creeping up and creeping up.
Yep.
And then I had to sit down and be real with myself. And I was like, well, your portions are creeping up. And, you're eating more fast food than you were, more takeout than you were. And are you really giving it your all during your workouts or are you just going through the motions? And I was just going through the motions.
Yeah, I've gone through that too. I mean, fully honestly, and I'll go on Instagram and say if this was a bad workout day, I'll put it in the caption. Man, shitty day at the gym. I just wasn't feeling it. I went and got it done, but it was shitty. And we all gonna have those days. You're never gonna go to the gym every single day and knock it out of the park. I don't think.
Anyone who tells you that they go to the gym and love every single workout and crushed every single workout is full of shit.
Yeah, they're putting on like some kind of front,
Yes.
That's really just what I think about it.
Yeah, it's I live, breathe, and everything, this lifestyle, and you don't have to. It's balance. This whole entire journey is just balance.
That is such a huge thing. that is so huge. You're so right on that. And I guess kind of to go forward, let's talk a little bit more about the social media aspect because when we talk about people putting up the fronts and there's a lot of noise, there's a lot of sales, there's a lot of folks that are kind of saying, I did this to get this, but really they didn't, things like, there's a lot of that. There's a lot of noise. So what have you kind of encountered, as you document your journey online? What are some of the things, good and bad, that you've noticed about, presenting yourself online?
I think presenting yourself online, it can be tricky if you get stuck up in your own head, which you and I were talking about a little bit before
we almost did a podcast
this.
before we... You know what we should have done, Nikki? We should have just sat here for like 2 hours and not said a freaking word to each other and just have saved it all for the podcast.
But it was really early and our brains weren't functioning yet.
Yeah, that's true.
I didn't have coffee until I got here. There was only 1 cup.
Yeah, we've been out for 2 hours now, by the way.
I'm a total coffee junkie, so it's kind of, I'm pretty sure coffee runs through my veins at this point. I know you hate coffee, so we won't even go there right now.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think it's really easy with social media to get stuck up in your own head.
Yes.
And compare yourself to everyone else and feel this is, if I'm sharing my fitness journey, this is what it should look like. And this is what I should post about. And I shouldn't share, that I'm eating pizza today because then it makes me look like a fraud because I'm not living, what I'm preaching.
Yes.
When in all actuality, we should just all be ourselves. And,
we really should.
You know what? If you eat the pizza, you ate the fucking pizza. If you had a burger and you ate all the fries, oh well.
And by the way, one day it's not the end of the world.
No, and it's not even one day. For most of us, it's like one meal.
Yeah, like why is there this idea that a weight loss journey is a deadline? Why do we pretend like it's some science project that's due in 2 weeks, I
don't know, because this journey is not like a straight arrow. It's not a straight path. There are all these turns.
It looks like
and valleys.
It looks like, what is it, like on the stock market, though?
Yes,
you know what I mean?
yes.
That's what it looks like.
There are ups, and you're going to have like some major ups. Like you just had a major up in losing 100 pounds.
Yeah.
Like that's fucking huge.
It's huge,
You joined the exclusive club. No, not really. But, that's a huge high. And then, as you move forward training for your 5K, there might be times where there are lows.
Oh, yeah.
When I was training for my half, 2 or 3 weeks out, I injured my foot and I wasn't able to participate in the half.
Yeah.
I was training for months for that. So then to not be able to complete what you were training for, that's a major low.
Yeah, I mean, I may go in April to this 5K and I may still not be ready yet. Guess what? I might walk over half of it
and there's
when I
nothing
wanted to
wrong
jog
with that
it.
Because you're still going to cross the finish line.
Bingo.
And that's it. That is the most important part. You don't have to run across the finish line. As long as you crawl across it, just cross it. It doesn't matter how long it takes you to get there. Everyone's journey is going to be different. Some people lose all their weight within a year.
Yeah.
Some people, it takes them years in order to do it, but just keep doing it. Don't be so concerned with what everybody else is doing. Just stay focused on your own journey. Stay focused on what's working for you.
Yeah.
And just do it.
Get your mind out of your own way. I mean,
oh my God.
The title of my book is going to be Me Against Me, The Fight of My Life.
Yes.
And that's what it is. It's me against me.
Absolutely.
You against you. That's what happens. That's why we're on Instagram when we've gained 1 pound and say, oh my God, my whole plan is...
I failed.
I famously, people they pop for this now, so I'm just going to throw it because they go for it. But I'm like, when these people go on their apology tours on Instagram, I gained 1 pound, and then they start explaining in great detail how the week panned out, and you probably just didn't take a shit. Like, you know what I mean? Like, why? It's
you had one meal that was too high in sodium,
yes,
and that's it.
You didn't pee before you got on the scale, like... I'll tell you what, like I plan out my weigh-in day. By the way, it's very calculated. Like,
yes, Gary poops before he weighs in.
Yes, no, well, not even that, but like I have a cheat day. I'm in team cheat day. Okay,
absolutely. You have to have a cheat day.
Yes, but cheat day is on my weigh-in day after I get off the scale, right?
Yes, because then you have an entire week to recover from it.
Bingo. Nikki gets it. I knew there was a reason I liked you.
Yeah, because it just makes fucking sense. Like,
yes.
Don't have that cheat meal the night before you're going to step on the scale.
Yes.
And then wonder why you're up.
Exactly.
It's because you face fucked some Five Guys the night before.
I've never heard it put that way. Oh my goodness, that might have to go in the highlight reel.
Yeah,
for
I have
the story.
A massive potty mouth. We've had conversations about this too.
It's okay. I just click explicit tag on the podcast and we're safe. Okay.
Okay.
We're fine.
Yeah. I use the F-bomb as punctuation when I speak.
Do you know my man Ken Han, Fat Boy Shrink? Do you follow him?
I just discovered him because of you.
Yeah, he's got a potty
recently.
mouth as well.
Oh, you should have had us on together.
The two of you guys on a podcast dropping the F-bomb every other word would have been great.
Fucking awesome.
Yeah. I agree. So with the social, there are the pros and cons. And I think one of the biggest things I take away from it is the amount of community that you gain from it.
Yes.
I mean, obviously,
community is more important than how many people are following you.
Yes. I mean, we met each other through the gram. How many great experiences have you had? Let's talk about the positive only. I mean, how many great experiences have you had meeting people or discovering people through Instagram? How many relationships were you able to build? Not exact number, but just ballpark. Like,
oh my
what
God.
have you seen?
I met my best friend through Twitter almost 7 years ago.
Wow.
Yeah, we met through a mutual person on Twitter, just started following each other, started talking. We were like, oh my God, you're awesome.
Yeah.
I think we just became best friends. And that was it. I actually, as I lost my weight and started getting serious about my weight loss journey, lost about 95% of the people who I called friends.
Yes. I'm so glad you brought that up. Can we go down that road?
Yeah, absolutely. So I have to say that 90% of the people that I call friends now, I have met through social media.
Yes.
And we have liked each other so much that we've done a meetup, kind of like you and I are doing, right now. Hey,
Right.
I'm going to be here. Want to meet? Okay, cool.
That is a huge thing to me. Something that has surprised me in the biggest way possible, because I've had people in my life, and I'm not outing anybody, but I've had let's just say maybe 5. Let's just throw a number.
Mm-hmm.
5 folks that they were either never on board to begin with. Like, in other words, they see what I'm doing, like, that ain't gonna stick.
Right.
Or what I think even hurts more is there's 3 or 4 folks that were there on day one, rooting you on. And as things progress, and maybe you don't follow exactly what they had the idea of what they thought you were going to do, because
Right.
it goes back to that thing. There are a lot of people that have, like, they want to get on board, but then they also want to, like, throw their shit on you.
Yes.
And when you don't follow their lead,
They get butthurt.
they get butthurt. And suddenly people that were with you day one, go Gary, nowhere to be found.
Yep.
Straight crickets.
Yep.
I have more people that support me that I have never met in real life from Instagram. I added one to the list today, but people that I've never met, and now people that I've met that support me far more than people in my, as I like to call, quote unquote, real life.
Right.
Blows my mind.
It's both amazing, like in a good way, and sad.
Yes.
Because I think that this journey makes you do a lot of self-realization.
Yes.
In my case, I was always very quiet. I still am quiet until you get to know me.
Yes.
And then I can be my full weird self around you.
Well, I've just gotten 56 minutes out of you here so far, for the record.
And for the record, I was super anxious. Like, anxiety levels were high because I've never done this before. I probably would have been passed out on the floor if this was like video or something. But yeah, you become more self-aware, and you start to notice the people that take advantage of you.
Yes.
Because all of a sudden, you're now making yourself a priority, and they're not handling that well.
No, they're not.
Because when you make yourself a priority, it means you're taking some of the focus off of them.
Yes.
And
they don't like that.
No, they don't like that at all. Like, who the fuck do you think you are to, like, put emphasis on yourself? Like, you should be paying attention to me.
Yeah.
And they can't handle it. And I think, at first I was really upset by it, but now I almost want to thank those people, because you did me a favor by weeding yourself out of my life.
Oh my God. I don't know if you've ever had this. This may be on a next level, but I've actually had people that have unfollowed, that I know in my real life, that have unfollowed, and then they continue to watch my content every day.
Yes. I've had,
Isn't that crazy?
family
Yeah.
do that. There were air quotes with my fingers there.
Yes.
Since you can't see this, but yes, yeah, it's interesting. It's
That's what I like about the stories, because you can see
Yes.
who's watching, and I'm like, you unfollowed me 3 months ago, but for the last 2 months straight, you've been watching every single day of my content.
Yeah,
That blows my mind.
I actually had someone tell me at one point that they liked Fat Nikki better.
Really?
Yes.
How do they rationalize that? Like, how do they explain that to you?
I guess Fat Nikki didn't speak up for herself ever.
Oh, yeah.
Or put herself first. So that made me, like the perfect person to always go to with their bullshit
Yeah.
and whatnot. But then when you make yourself a priority, you don't want to hear other people's bullshit all the time. It's either do something to improve yourself or just shut the fuck up.
I love it. I would end the podcast right there, only I made a note to myself. I wanted to ask you, you do the clothing. We can kind of wrap up with this. You're doing the clothing line. And how has that been for you? How did you get involved in that? I know you have a graphic design background, but how do you get inspired to want to do clothing, fitness-based type stuff?
It actually started, I would have conversations with people and talk about my workouts or, just texting back and forth with people, and I would say things and they were like, dude, that should be on a t-shirt.
Yeah. I hear you.
And I am kind of a quiet person. I don't always voice myself, but I will happily tell you how it is on a t-shirt.
Yeah.
I don't like to take things serious. I can be super sarcastic and
Right.
snarky at times, and I've been told it's part of my charm.
Yeah.
So I just started putting it on some t-shirts, and people reacted well to it. So
Give folks some of the idea, like what's one or two of your shirts that are really popular? Like, what do they say?
If only sarcasm burns calories.
There you go. I like that.
I work out because punching people is frowned upon. I would have to say that's one of the most popular ones at the moment. That is works out but also loves pizza.
Oh,
because
yeah.
Pizza is life.
That might be the one for me. I was actually going to ask you, we've known each other long enough. I think now we talk pretty much daily. What would be the shirt that Gary should buy? Which one should I get?
Ooh.
What do you think?
I don't know. I might have to make you a custom one.
Ooh, okay. All right. Well,
a
we can
limited
talk
edition.
about that. Yes.
Custom.
Something that fits.
Gary Cantrell.
I would love to find out what your interpretation of me is via a t-shirt.
Yes, I might have to think about this one. Maybe I'll make 2 of them and put it up for vote on Instagram.
Okay, all right. I like that.
And then you and a random person gets one.
There you go.
I don't know. I need more coffee at this point.
There you go.
Yeah. I don't know. I definitely think the pizza one is you.
Okay, yeah. I'm all about
not,
pizza.
We need something with pizza rolls and ranch dressing.
You've been paying way too much attention. I love you for that. I'm popping for that. I like that. That's cool. Now, pizza, by the way, is still in my. I work it into my cheat days.
Yes.
So it's still present. By the way, folks, you can lose 100 pounds and still have a pizza in there somewhere. It's not the end of the world.
You can have beer with that pizza too.
Hell yeah, you can.
Yes.
I still have some beer.
I do keto and still find a way to make pizza fit in there. So
that's what I'm talking about. Well, I appreciate not only your time, although you're kind of,
I'm kind of
you're kind of stuck here as we wait to meet Gary V. But I appreciate your time, your honesty. It's so incredible to have finally met you, to sit down face to face and have this chat. Once again, tell people where you are, where they can find you, to buy your shit, etc., etc.
All of my links are on my Instagram. I am at Bronc787. That's BRONC 787. That's my handle on Twitter as well. T-shirts are Nicole Hynes Designs at storemv.com. Link is in my Instagram, which is totally easier to find.
You need a .com on that.
Yeah, I know. I'm working on it. Working on
$10 a year.
I know.
It's super cheap.
Hey, I have it for my blog, which is getfitwithnikki.com.
I like that. The fact that you're able to score that's amazing.
Yeah, it's a little neglected, but the content that's in there is pretty solid. And there's a lot of good recipes.
There you go. So we'll check that out, getfitwithnikki.com. Bronx787 on the Instagram. Guys, I want to thank you so much for checking out the podcast. I'll end it with this. Visit my website, hardworkalwayswins.com. Visit me on Instagram at Gary Cantrell. And if you're shopping on Amazon, you're already there. I mean, God, Nick, you shop on Amazon, don't you?
Who doesn't shop on Amazon? I mean, Prime shipping.
Exactly. So I'm going to let you guys in on a pro tip. If you love my podcast, if you think it brings you value, let me change your life here for a moment. You go to garyspodcast.com/Amazon, hit it as a bookmark and rename it as Amazon. Every time you buy something, they click off a few pennies for me. It's amazing how that works. It is an affiliate link. That's the inside baseball lingo for it. But if you go to garyspodcast.com/Amazon, forward you to the front page of Amazon, tells them that I sent you, I get a few pennies. It helps the podcast. Otherwise, go to hardworkalwayswins.com, buy my shit, buy my shit. I only say that in joking. I don't mean that literally. Or maybe I do. I don't know. But thank you guys for listening so much. We'll catch you guys next week. And thank you so much, Nikki, for joining me.
Thanks for having me, Gary.